Hey everybody. I'm going to talk to you guys today about um, Hamlet Act 2. Hamlet Act 2 is actually two scenes. The first scene is pretty short. The second scene is really robust. So I'm just going to kind of quickly go over it. Um, you should have read it for homework. This video is not meant to take the place of you having to read it. This is just to kind of help you understand it a little bit better. So, scene one is all about Polonius. Polonius has hired a spy named Rinaldo, and he's told this spy to go to France, where Polonius's son Laertes is studying at college. He wants Rinaldo to go to France and basically pose as a college student and start spreading some ugly, nasty rumors about Laertes. He then wants Rinaldo to listen to the feedback that he gets from people. So the idea is that Rinaldo goes to France, spreads some ugly rumors about what a party animal and terrible human being Laertes is, and then see what people say. If people agree and say that Laertes is, just a terrible human being, then he needs to report that back to Polonius so that Polonius can be like, well, my son's misbehaving and I need to crack the whip some. If, however, the people hear Rinaldo's lies and say, what are you talking about? That's not the Laertes we know, then he needs to report that back to Polonius as well, so that Polonius can be like, oh, I guess my son is behaving the way that he should. So that's the first thing. So Rinaldo goes off to France in order to basically spy on Polonius's son. Nice dad, huh? The other thing that happens in scene one is that Ophelia comes in to talk to her father, and she's just an emotional mess. She was breaking up with Hamlet just like her father ordered her to, and Hamlet just went nuts. She comes in crying about how he's just snapped completely. And Polonius assumes incorrectly that Hamlet is insane because he ordered his daughter to break up with Hamlet. He's like, I guess Hamlet really did love you, and now that you broke up with him, you've broken his heart to the point where he's snapped. And so Polonius decides that he must tell the king and queen about this, which is exactly what Hamlet wanted. So that's scene one. In scene two, the king and queen, Claudius and Gertrude, are talking to a couple of newcomers to the play, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. And these two guys are childhood friends of Hamlet. The king and queen figure, since these two guys were childhood friends with Hamlet, that they would be able to get to the bottom of Hamlet's insanity. The problem with this is, number one, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are kind of dumb, and number two, they haven't talked to Hamlet in years. So now they're expected to just come out of the blue and just, hey, Hamlet, how's it going? Why are you crazy? So, anyway, while that's going on, Polonius comes in and he says, I have two bits of information for the king and queen. The first bit of information he has, and he relishes in the idea that he has news and information that other people don't have. So Polonius is loving every minute of this, and he's going to milk this for all it's worth. And he's going to spend as much time talking as possible because he wants the spotlight. He wants everybody focused on him. What information does Polonius have? So he's going to milk this whole scene for as much as it's worth, and he's going to drag the scene out much longer than it needs to be because, again, he loves the sound of his own voice and he loves to basically have all the attention. So, the two bits of information. Number one, he tells the king and queen that there is news from Norway. Remember, in the previous act, Claudius sends a couple of messengers to Norway to basically tell the king of Norway to get his nephew in line and basically tell his nephew not to attack Denmark or there'll be consequences. Well, apparently that message was received, and the king of Norway told his nephew, you had better not attack Denmark or I will have you arrested. His nephew agrees, begrudgingly, not to attack Denmark, even though he really wanted to. And as a reward, The king is like, well, you raised this army and you got blood on your mind, so how about instead of attacking Denmark, you attack Poland? Young Prince Fortinbras agrees that this is a good compromise, and so instead wants to send his army to Poland to invade Poland instead of Denmark. The problem with this is that in order to get to Poland, they have to go through Denmark. So now Norway needs permission from Claudius to go through Denmark peacefully with an entire army that moments ago actually wanted to attack Denmark. And now they want permission to go through Denmark peacefully with the promise that they won't attack Denmark while they're there, and they'll go through Denmark and instead attack Poland. Sounds kind of fishy, right? Well, Claudius agrees, and so he basically tells them to send word that, yeah, it's fine with him. Okay, so now Norway has permission to go through Denmark with an entire army on their way to Poland. So that's a lot of trust that Claudius is showing. The other thing that they talk about is Hamlet. Now, Polonius tells the king and queen that he believes that he knows why Hamlet has gone insane. The news of Hamlet's insanity has spread far and wide pretty quickly, and Polonius figures that it's because his daughter broke up with Hamlet. The queen is unconvinced. She believes that Hamlet has gone insane because of her fast marriage to her brother-in-law, Claudius, and his father's death, both of which are much closer to the truth than Polonius's idea that it was Ophelia. Anyway, Polonius and Gertrude agree to disagree, and they decide to test each other's theories more thoroughly. So the plan is, from Polonius, to get Ophelia to accidentally bump into Hamlet while he's taking a stroll, and to basically have Ophelia confront him and say, basically, why are you going crazy? And while she's doing that, Claudius and Polonius will be hiding around the corner, hiding around a pillar, basically, eavesdropping. So while they're scheming, while they're making this plan, Hamlet comes in. And Polonius kind of shoos everybody out, and he's like, I got it, I'll just talk to Hamlet myself. And so everybody goes, and Polonius is alone with Hamlet. Polonius tries to get to the bottom of Hamlet's insanity, but Hamlet is much too smart for Polonius. Hamlet is like an entirely different level of intelligence, and Polonius is like down here, and Hamlet's like up here. And using clever wordplay, Hamlet is able to not only tell Polonius to buzz off, but also insult Polonius to his face without Polonius even realizing that that's what Hamlet's doing. He thinks Hamlet's just saying random mad gibberish. But that's not it. Hamlet's actually insulting him to his face. And it's a bit of comedy, actually. So Polonius leaves dejected. He wasn't able to get to the bottom of Hamlet's insanity. And instead, they kind of go their own separate ways. Well, then Hamlet bumps into Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. And again, just like as with Polonius, these guys are completely outclassed mentally against Hamlet. And again, Hamlet is able to insult them to their faces without them even recognizing it. They, again, just like Polonius, they think it's just mad gibberish, but it's actually insults. And what's more, Hamlet is actually able to turn the tables on them and get them to admit. So they were there to get Hamlet to admit why he's crazy, and instead he actually gets them to admit why they're really there. And so he knows that they're spying on him because of the king and queen. And while they're talking, news gets out that there are some traveling actors, traveling theater troupes that have come into town. And Hamlet's like, interesting. I like these actors. They're some of my favorite. I know. I've got an idea. And he has a conversation with these actors and basically has them, tells them, I want you to perform this play that's similar to what happened with Claudius and King Hamlet. But, and he tells the actors this, I want to add some of my own lines to the play to make it a bit more personal for the king and queen and the other lords and ladies that I'm going to have watch this play. So the actors agree because, hey, it's the prince and he can do what he wants. And when they leave, Hamlet has another soliloquy, this time again, just kind of really being hard on himself about, why is it that this group of actors can get so emotional over the fake killings of people, and yet myself, I haven't been this emotional about my own father's death. So, what's wrong with me? And he gets kind of really hard on himself, and he decides, you know what? If these actors can be so moved by a performance, imagine how moved the audience will be. I know I'm going to force Claudius, I'm going to make sure that the lines that I write, I'm going to force Claudius to watch this play, and I'm going to make sure that the lines that I write are so charged with emotion that he'll be forced to react. And if he does, I will know for certain that the ghost was telling the truth and that Claudius is guilty, and I will kill him on the spot. If, however, he watches this play and he remains unmoved, then I'll know that that ghost was a liar, and I'll leave my uncle alone. So he ends this scene, or this act, basically saying, the play's the thing, wherein I'll catch the conscience of the king.